What is up, YouTube? I am the Ebon Magician, and today we are going to take a look at a new card and a whole deck around it from Ancient Origins. That new card is Kyurem EX. I seem to get a lot of these in the first week when this card came out, so I thought, why not? Let's build a deck around it. For those of you who don't know, it has 180 HP, it's weak to steel, it has a 3 energy retreat, and 2 attacks, neither of which likes double colorless energy, but that's alright because we've got a way around that. Its first attack is 2 water and 1 colorless energy, and it deals 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. A lot like the Kyurem that came from Legendary Treasures, and before that, of course. And its second attack is 3 water and 1 colorless, and it's Ice Caliber, which makes you want to build around it just because it's called Ice Caliber. I think that pretty much says it all. It does 130 damage. You have to discard an energy, but your opponent's defending Pokemon can't attack during your opponent's next turn. So he's not super fantastic necessarily, but he could put in work with the right accompaniment. And that's what we're trying to do in this deck. We're trying to have fun with a new card that's out and try to capitalize on playing around its strengths. Spreading damage with Glaciate, its first attack, and dealing heavy damage with Ice Caliber, its second attack, which, under the right circumstances, could actually be pretty problematic as it's going to force our opponents to retreat, which they may not always want to do. And 180 HP is pretty beefy, it's pretty solid. Well, it should be no mystery to those of you who know me that Mega Manectric is one of my more favored cards from the XY era, and it works beautifully with Kyurem EX. Its Turbo Bolt attack is the perfect way to power up Ice Caliber and Glaciate quickly and easily, and we don't care about double colorless energies, which is nice because that gets around things like Zeralsic and Enhanced Hammer while we're at it. Free Retreat here can also be pretty nice for doing some tricks with things like Escape Rope, which we might need to do with Kyurem EX. And of course we do decent damage with Turbo Bolt, which can combine with Ice Caliber to score knockouts even on Megas. So we're going definitely 3 of on that. And then we're going to go 4 on our Manectric EX. Partially because Overrun is another way to spread damage, which in combination with Glaciate could pick up some nice KOs, especially on decks that run non-EX support mons, like Bronzong and Bats and things like that. It can be a good way to keep the pressure on them, or let's say Aromatisse is another good target. An Assault Laser can also put in good damage that when combined with an Ice Caliber could mean knockout later on. So that's the core of our deck, but we are also running one more Pokemon, Articuno. For those of you who know me in real life, I've been playing around with this card for a while, and it definitely puts in a lot of mid to late game work. Mega Manectric just has to Turbo Bolt onto it once, and then your Tri-Edge with a Muscle Band is dealing, it's easy to expect at least 1 heads on it, and therefore you're thinking 80 damage. So 1 good hit, then this thing comes in to finish the job on an EX, and that's 3 prizes. That can easily close out a game. And, its first attack, Chilling Sigh, at least gives us the option to stall if we absolutely need to early or late game. So it is a pretty well-rounded Pokemon, very solid. So how we're going to support this is we're running 3 Junipers, or of course Sycamore, if you want to be lame and run the new stuff. And then we've got 4 Shaunas, which of course could also be Birch's new, you know what I mean. The thing with Birch, his observations, that's it. Birch's observations, that's how you know this stuff is live. And we are also going to run one other card from the new set, Ace Trainer. I thought about running more than one, but right now I'm just sort of playtesting it. And in the early game, when you really need to draw cards the most, prizes may very well be locked up 6 and 6, so this card might not be that great. So I'm thinking of this right now as more of a versus seeker target, but a very powerful one, especially if you were to play it turn after turn. It could really put your opponent into a big card advantage hole. They could find it hard to get back from that, and you could easily retake the game. And that's important. So we are running one Ace Trainer. We're running one Lysander, just a great way to control things and pick up easy KOs, of course. We're also running Az, or AZ, whichever one you want to call it. I don't know which is right. It doesn't matter. This can be a great way to pick up mons like, say, Kyurem and get it out of trouble, and put those energies back into the discard pile for your Mega Manectric to come in and do a Turbo Bolt and put it right back on. Like, let's say you've used Ice Caliber in the previous turn, then your Kyurem EX took a big hit. You can AZ to pick him back up, put those 3 energies that are left on him back into the discard pile, bring up your Mega Manectric into your active slot, replay your Kyurem EX onto your bench, Turbo Bolt, and you've already got 2 energies down on that Kyurem EX, and 1 more energy play on your next turn from your hand could fire off a Glaciate. And honestly, you could easily keep Mega Manectric up and then just Turbo Bolt again to power him up all the way, and start powering up with your energy play for that next turn on another Mon. AZ is a great way to deny your opponent prizes, and it makes a lot of sense in this deck. Now, our final supporter is Zurasic. It's a good way to pull off annoying things like Headringer, and also destroying special energies on things like Seismitoad can be very meaningful. So we are going to run the one copy of him. It's a pretty good utilitarian card, especially when we want to make sure our Spirit Links can safely attach. Speaking of which, we are running 2 Manectric Spirit Links, just the 2, because we really don't need to go to Mega Manectric that often. So this ought to be enough. We've got a good amount of drawing and search in this deck, as you're about to see. So we're not going to opt for the 3. You can try it if you want to build your deck that way. I invite you to. Always play test. If you've got an idea, go for it. But we're going to run 3 Muscle Bands. Articuno likes this, and that definitely makes Kyurem a lot more threatening as well, as dealing 150 damage versus 130 means that he's going to deal 300 damage in 2 turns, which is a lot harder to stop with something like, say, Rough Seas if your opponent's got water and electrics. So it's helping us make sure that things go down when they need to go down. And speaking of searching and getting things, we're running a full complement of 4 Trainer's Mail. This is to help us get the right supporter at the right time. This can, of course, also get us things like Versus Seeker and so on. So it's very good for setting up early and effectively. There are a lot of items we really want, like Manectric Spirit Link, that we want to make sure we hit them. So that's that. And we are only running 3 Acrobikes. I really considered running a 4th, but I'm running 3. Basically, this is just to dump a couple of energies into your discard pile early, and it can also access you some supporters. But it doesn't dig nearly as deeply as Trainer's Mail, so we opted for 4 Trainer's Mail and 3 Acrobikes, as often what we're going to be looking for will be a trainer or a supporter, since they're supporters and trainers are, well, trainers in general, are over half the deck in this case. So there are those 3 Acrobikes, and another way we can put energies into the discard for Turbo Bolt is Ultra Ball. We're only running 2 because we have a fairly small number of Pokemon in the deck, and once we get them all set up, we really don't need to search them that much. So just the 2, that'll be enough. We're also running 3 Versus Seeker. This is a kind of a standard number for me. We really don't need 4, and space is a little tight. But this is great to try to seal up the late game, make sure you get the right thing, you know, keep those Lysanders or Ace Trainers where they need to be, getting played, keeping your opponent locked down so they really don't have as many options. And we're also opting for 2 Professor's Letter. In playing similar builds, I've found that 1 letter is often not quite enough. We definitely have to get those lightning energies for that Manectric, and we're not running a super great number of them because we really only need the 1. So this is we're going to opt for 2 letters to make absolutely sure that we get what we need. And these can, of course, also work with things like Ultra Ball and Professor Juniper / Sycamore in order to get those energies into the discard pile so that our Turbo Bolt starts getting us energies and set up as quickly as possible. Now, speaking of sending things to the discard pile, Energy Retrieval is a great card with Mega Manectric, because sometimes those lightnings get stuffed into the discard pile a little too quickly, and you have a hard time getting them out of the deck, so this can be a great way to retrieve them, and just generally in the late game, sometimes getting energies into your hand to play directly onto Mons can be a little difficult, so we do have Energy Retrieval for that purpose. Kind of help us out. We're also running 2 Escape Ropes. Kyurem EX has a fairly unpleasant retreat cost, as a lot of Mons do, at 3. And this card, of course, goes brilliantly with free retreat Pokemon like Mega Manectric, so it's just kind of a knee-jerk reaction inclusion, and it's a good way around status and whatnot, too. So it just makes sense, basically. We're also opting for 3 Rough Seas. Now, you might want to play this a little carefully if your opponent has water and lightning types, too, but this is just a great way to keep our Pokemon on the field a little longer, give them some longevity. Retreating Mega Manectric out for free is a great way to just heal up a big hit over the span of a couple of turns with Rough Seas, while some other Pokemon does the legwork, like Kyurem EX. So, just a very useful card in a deck like this with these types. And last but not least, our energy. We're running 4 Lightnings. That's basically 1 per Manectric EX that we run. And we actually have 1 less Mega Manectric than this. So we just want to make sure we do have them, trying to avoid prizing them, but we don't really need a lot other than just the 1 to get our Turbo Bolt off. And then we've got 8 Water Energies, and that is a 12 energy count total, which should be enough with 2 letters and a fair amount of draw power like Trainer's Mail and so on and so forth, Acrobike. And so that's basically the deck. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to be trying it out myself, see how it goes. I encourage you to do the same. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter if you haven't already. It can sometimes get you some cool updates, and I'll tell you how I did in tournaments and things like that. So definitely check that out. And I will see you next time.